illegal. His sources tell him there's a hidden agenda. With some 10,000 police officers retiring every year, the presence of the Yakuza provides them lucrative second careers.
The police need them. Various industries tend to employ retired officers to counter Yakuza shareholders who influence corporate decisions. Retired officers provide them advice and protection. Now citizens are responsible for denying the Yakuza, who are not illegal. You put your life at stake when you encounter them. The police have effectively backed down from their role of protecting public safety.
People like Akira Konagamitsu are now at the front line of this fight. He runs a bar. Under the new law, he's meant to turn away Yakuza customers.
It's hard to tell whether someone is a Yakuza or not. People think they are bad guys, but they look like any other person. Honestly, we don't know. The Yakuza who come to my bar don't misbehave. The people in Kitakyushu have seen a lot of Yakuza activities for a long time. If you don't show them your weakness or get involved with them, they don't trouble you.
That's not always true. Beneath the calm of Kyushu is a deadly battleground for two of Japan's most vicious Yakuza groups. The Seidokai and the Dojinkai are known for drug trafficking and firearm attacks despite the tougher laws. In this rustic region, gangland feuds have affected the lives of ordinary people. Atsuki Miyamoto's husband was in hospital for a sports injury in November 2007. He never came home.
Before, when the general public saw news on the Yakuza, it's just another story. Even though we knew that people were in the same hospital as we were, we had no sense of danger.
At the time, a Seidokai Yakuza was warded in the same hospital. He swapped rooms with Miyamoto's husband, Hiroshi. Disaster struck when his rival gang sent an assassin. Hiroshi took 2 bullets, later proven a case of mistaken identity. His bloodied shirt shows 1 round penetrated his shoulder and a fatal shot through his torso. The 61-year-old gunman was sentenced to 24 years in jail.
When their father died, I told my children he didn't do anything bad. I told them life is the most important. I'm trying my best to give them a normal family life, to be both father and mother. I will move on to face my own life with optimism.
Every day, Miyamoto places a cup of rice for her husband at the ancestral altar before dinner with her children.
I don't mention their father to them, but it's hard when we attend festivals. Normally, kids go with their dad and mom, but we have no father figure with us. People generally aren't aware of how close the Yakuza are to us. They're right there, but we don't sense the danger. I welcome tougher laws if it removes them. But every citizen needs to realize how dangerously close they are. Our society will only change if we change our mindsets along with the introduction of laws.
One man who knows the pulse of the Yakuza only too well wants to make changes.
It was 6-on-1. They bashed me all over. I had a serious eye injury. I couldn't stand for a month. There was just too many of them. It was the only time I lost a fight.
After 7 years in jail over 3 terms, 41-year-old Tatsuya Shindo's criminal days are over. Once a high-flying gangster with Japan's second-largest Yakuza group, Sumiyoshikai, He is now a Christian pastor.
そこで結構用いられて、可愛がられて。
They liked me. I worked hard. I was promoted and had my own men. I earned a lot of money. For me, the quickest way was to sell drugs. I crashed the organisation's car while drink driving. It was the second time I did that, so I chopped off my finger as punishment.
After the police busted him for drugs in 2001 and sent him to jail for the third time, Shindo found forgiveness in faith. He discovered the Bible while in prison. On his release 2 years later, he took up theological studies and started this church near Tokyo in his mother's cafe, reaching out to society's dropouts. The congregation includes former Yakuza and their family members.
Our job is to encourage those reluctant or refusing to change. Tell them they can get better. We lead by example. Being a Yakuza is like a bloodstain. The longer you don't remove it, the more permanent it becomes. Faith can purify you instantly, but our habits, our Yakuza mentality, that takes daily hard work to change.
It's a special day for Shindo. His former Yakuza senior who inducted him into the underworld is here. Tadashi Ono spent 10 years in jail and was only released recently. After the service, Shindo and some of the former Yakuza catch up with Ono.
The world has changed so much, I feel lost. The economy is bad and there's no work. How do we support ourselves?
I think it's difficult. You see, there's no finger. You're missing fingers like this. My finger is long, so you might not notice a missing part. But if you've got short fingers on both hands, that's a big handicap.
People look at these fingers no matter how I hide them. I'm not trying to lie, but I don't want to intimidate others. So I'm always careful about trying to hide my fingers.
When it comes to trust, there's none even if you confess your sins. You may have a job and new friends around you. People still look at you differently, like a criminal.
Because of my past, I have difficulty finding a job, even through the government's employment service centre. No matter how much I want to be useful, people think about my past rather than what I can contribute in the future.
Shindo says if society continues to reject former Yakuza or those wishing to leave the underworld, then they're likely to stay involved in crime. So whatever the law says, he will keep his ties with them.
If an old friend wants to leave the Yakuza, he would come to me. But if I don't talk to him, he would feel I'm distant and refuse to seek my help. So whether or not he's Yakuza, I should talk to him if I'm a friend.
Yakuza. That means 8, 9, and 3. The worst combination for a type of Japanese blackjack. The original Yakuza referred to this losing hand, which became associated with criminal groups of gamblers and jobless outcasts. The Yakuza today are a lot more complex than the law caters for, says Manabu Miyazaki, a writer and a social critic. His father was a Yakuza boss.
When you talk about the Yakuza, you have to include their family members, friends and relatives. If each person knows 10 others, there will be at least 700,000 people involved with the Yakuza. You have to consider the rights of every one of them.
The consequences of the new law ripple across Japanese society. Those affected are concerned that in the crackdown on the Yakuza, the toughest fight could be at the very top.
Political figures, regional businesses like sake brewers, company owners, or rich people, they would use the Yakuza to solve their problems. They are the powerful, rich and famous who have to maintain a public image.
The Yakuza have prospered for centuries by reaching all levels of society. But they are facing their toughest battle yet, as authorities involve ordinary citizens in the fight against the criminal underworld.